Hello friends, this video is going to combine 4 trips into one. These trips were all taken within a 12-month period, and they were whirlwind trips, and they kind of were all related to each other. So to start with, I need to explain that after coming back from the team trip in 2007, which you can watch in the previous video on this channel, I came back home and was contacted by a gentleman named Blaine from Southern California, and he owned a insurance corporation and wanted to sponsor what we were doing in Uganda. And he wanted to build a school, wanted to build a medical center, just do all kinds of things that we were already involved in and help us out. So of course he wanted to go over there and look at everything, so I took him over there and then proceeded to do what he sponsored to do. So that's basically a rundown. So let me get started with the first trip in 2007, November 2007 to be specific, was when I first went over again by myself, and this time it was strictly a planning meeting. I was instructed to hire an architect and get a team together and start working on this project. So the team I put together was the pastor running the school, Pastor Godfrey from the school that I showed you in the previous videos, and of course my right-hand man Charles. That was a team we put together, and we started to do the planning, and I started to lay out the project, and we started to get architectural drawings of what we were trying to accomplish. And so it started quickly, and it started like a whirlwind. And now this is before Blaine had even seen anything. This was just him basically giving me my marching orders. He would come later then and put his touches on everything. So which then moves me then to the first trip in 2008, which is when I brought Blaine over there to show him everything, and also to do the groundbreaking for the project, and we had a big ceremony and everything. So this was a very interesting trip. Of course, he took me over there. Things changed a lot now. He flew me over there in business class, which was definitely an eye-opener for me. And we stayed in a luxury hotel that was just been built in Uganda, hadn't even been finished yet, and the Imperial, I think it was called, and we had luxury suites. It was definitely totally different from anything I experienced before. And so this was kind of a sign of things to come, and so we got there, and we hit the ground running. We had the groundbreaking ceremony. We went looking for cars. He was going to buy everybody involved a car, and we started working on the bathrooms and got those actually finished very quickly. And then also got a kitchen built and started a feeding program for the school, where every month we would bring in food so that the school would feed the kids a decent meal at least twice a day. And so it was this little school that served the slums just became huge. So and of course Blaine got to meet everybody, he got involved with everybody, and then kind of turned it over to me, and kind of instructed me to oversee the project. And so that's went over 3 more times to do just that. The next time I returned was June of 2008. And this, by this time, it was, the construction was well underway and of the new school. And I went to check up on things, to provide any resources they need, and spend 2-3 weeks there with Charles, who was overseeing everything, just kind of helping out and just realizing the frustration of trying to do construction in a place like this was pretty incredible. Things were just very slow and very hard, and it was not just a matter of going to a hardware store or a construction store and buying material. It was quite a tedious process to try to get materials and things, but things moved along. After Blaine left the country, I stayed behind a couple of weeks and continued to supervise the construction, but also to work with the new child sponsorship program that we had started. We had given it a name by now. It was called SAND, Student Adoption Network Development, and we had sponsored out 10 children at this time, and these are the kids you see here are the kids that we sponsored out and provided a home for, and they were going to the school that we had actually brought them all together into one class with one teacher. We hired our own teacher, and they started going to Pastor Godfrey's school in sort of a separate classroom with a separate teacher. So we thought more about that later. Yeah, here are the kids that were part of this. And these were all sponsored by people in the U.S., and which would later become its own organization, but that would have to wait until 2010. Pretty soon, over the next 2-3 years here, this would grow to be 15, and then eventually 17, and then eventually 20 kids that were in this program. And we got them from very young, and then a lot of them are still sponsored by the same people even to this day. One of my main objectives was to introduce the kids to each of their sponsors, and this is of course before they had really the ability to communicate from the US with these kids. So I made a video with each of these children, letting them say hi to their sponsors, and so that the sponsors could get to know them. And this was really the start of the next 5-6 years that this program started to take off. Here's a little sample that where a sponsor got to meet their kids. But I wanted to just come and introduce them to you. This is their classroom that they're in, and let's come on in. And you see, they're busy with some coloring books, and that we got them. And as you have seen, some of the gifts and treats they got this morning.
Oniel, Grace, Alon, Nita, Harriet, Oliver, Hassan.
Then the final trip in 2008 was in November, and this was a very quick trip where Blaine just wanted to go and inspect the progress of everything. You can see here the walls have started to go up, and the basic structure of the school started to become apparent. And so I don't really remember a whole lot about this trip. It was very quick, and maybe 3-4 days. And Blaine also wanted to check out some property, and because he also wanted to get involved in building a medical center, which I didn't get involved with, and he wanted to do, but which actually never came about. And neither, by the way, did the cars. Nobody ever got a car, and I'll explain that more in our next video when we get to 2009. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see some other videos that started way back in 2004, click on my channel above, and you'll see all the Uganda memory videos. Until next time, which will be 2009, the memories of 2009. Thanks for watching, and have a blessed rest of your day.